Welcome to the Feed Dive. Today we're diving into one of Reddit's most infamous communities. Am I the a-hole? In this video, we explore some of the wildest stories where people ask if they're in the wrong. From family drama to friendship fallout, you'll hear it all and get to judge for yourself. Who's the real a-hole here? AITA for expecting my sister to pay back on the due date the money I lent her for her dog's vet bills. On October 1st, I, 35, lent my sister, 27F, $2,500 for her dog's vet bills. She promised to pay me back on November 1st. She said she would have the money on that date. I have this in writing via text. I've never lent my sister money before, and I generally trust her. I didn't care for her dog, but she loved it. It ended up passing on October 15th. She was devastated. I gave her my condolences and went about my life. On November 1st, I asked her to Venmo me the $2,500. She blows up on me asking how I could ask her for money when she is still grieving. She says it's only been 2 weeks since the dog died and she isn't ready to move on. I told her I'm not telling you to move on. I'm telling you to pay me what I'm owed. I asked if she is saying she is not paying me back. She called me an asshole and hung up. I texted her a screenshot of her agreeing to the November 1st date. She ignored me. I can live without getting the $2,500 back with no material effect on my life, but also $2,500 is not an insignificant amount. In talking with our mom, the vet bill was over $7,000, and it didn't save her dog's life. I found out my mom gifted her $2,000 to help out. I have no idea what my sister's finances are like, but I'm guessing they are not good. She is now 7 days late, and I haven't seen a dime. We've had several arguments, and this has really deteriorated our relationship. Essentially, she is calling me an unsympathetic asshole. But am I? AITA for telling my wife that the house we are going to build won't have 5 extra rooms for her mom, her 3 brothers, and her cousin. Was looking at house plans to submit to the town hall for approval for an acre we own out in Minnesota. 4-bedroom, 1 for wife and me, 1 for each of our 2 kids, and an extra room as a playroom, game room. Where's my family staying? She already promised them that they would move in with us, and us now furious that you only care about yourself. What about me? I told her that I didn't agree to that from the start. Now she's looking to sell the land from under me to prove a point, I guess. Info. The land is owned jointly by me and my wife. It was purchased using the life insurance payout we got for the death of our 1-year-old girl in 2021. Between then and now, I got a manufacturing job with a federal government contractor. Her family has no stake or rights to our land. I got a call from the town's registrar about the ownership change inquiries for the land. We actually own 2 parcels, and I offered her to sell 1 parcel to her siblings for market value, but she declined. The house will be paid by me. I told her if her family want, I can do an ADU, but they will pay market value for their rent per room, so about $900 each. She declined. My current course of action is to transfer my ownership of the land into a trust with my kids as primary owners with express instructions that only direct descendants of me may build and live on the property. ATA for offending my in-laws by deciding my daughters won't have a quinceanera and the reasons. Context. My husband, M35, and I, F34, have 2 daughters. The oldest, Lexi, 14, is not my husband's biological child, but he has been nothing short of a father to her. Our second daughter, Rosie, husband's bio, is just a baby. Last weekend, we got together with hubby's family at his parents' house. Mill started talking about how we need to prepare for Lexi's quinceanera next year. Hub's family has joked multiple times about Lexi getting to have a quince now that she's an honorary Mexican through my husband. My husband's family is from Mexico. I am not of Latino origin. They grew up in the Catholic faith. I did not. While I love that hubby's family considers Lexi their own and includes her in other Mexican traditions, quinceaneras are the one exception. I have told my husband before I don't agree with what it historically represents, and we aren't Catholic. My husband has also said he understands this. I tell my MIL that Lexi won't be having a quince and has told me she just wants to go do something with her friends. My mother-in-law snapped at my husband in Spanish and left the room. I was then bombarded with both of my SILs, one their husbands, and my MIL from the other room demanding to know why Lexi couldn't have a quince. My husband told them to stand down, but for the next 20 minutes, they kept making passive-aggressive comments like, "Poor Lexi won't have a quince like her little sister will." I finally said in a stern but calm tone, "I understand it's a tradition. But I do not agree with the original meaning of quinces in that now a 15-year-old is a woman and ready for marriage. I know it's modernized now and means they're just entering womanhood, but I still don't agree with the symbolism. They're kids. Besides, husband and I don't practice Catholic faith. Lexi is not having a quince, and I don't want Rosie to have one either. From all directions, shouts of, "What? Rosie has to have one. And Rosie is Mexican. You can decide for Lexi, but not for Rosie," came from all my in-laws. All last week, my husband was getting texts about how much I offended them and that a quince, more so for Rosie as his bio kid, is a rite of passage and marks a milestone into womanhood. I told my husband that if Rosie really wants one in the future, I would be open to hearing her reasonings, but I won't encourage or force her to. My husband hates confrontation and told me this morning that I'm the jerk for not just giving in because disagreeing with how they feel about quinces is offensive to them. AATA for telling my husband I'm done with his help around the house. My husband, 34M, and I, 31F, have been together for 8 years and married for 5. We both work full-time, so we've always split household chores. But here's the thing. His version of helping is a nightmare. For example, I'll ask him to help with laundry. He'll agree, but instead of sorting things like delicates or checking pockets, he just throws everything into the washer on one setting. This has ruined clothes and stained things beyond repair. Same thing happens in the kitchen. He helps by making a mess while cooking, but he leaves everything piled up in the sink and somehow manages to dirty every dish and pan. I've tried teaching him, suggesting easier ways, even leaving little checklists, but he always says he knows what he's doing and dismisses my advice. I end up spending double the time either fixing what he did or doing things over from scratch. And whenever I bring it up, he says he's trying his best, or accuses me of being too picky and controlling. This came to a head recently when he helped me by cleaning up our living room right before my friends came over. I thought he'd done a great job, until one of my friends found my birth control pills in the junk drawer because he decided to tidy by throwing everything into random places. I was embarrassed, but when I told him, he laughed it off. So last night I told him I'm done with his help and would rather just do everything myself if he's not willing to do things properly. He got upset, saying he's just trying to make things easier for me and now I'm criticizing him for helping. Now he's barely speaking to me, and I'm feeling conflicted. Eata for telling my husband to stop helping if he can't do things right. Aitia for telling my stepdad's family he's not my dad and I'm not his son. My parents weren't married, but both were in my life until my dad died when I, 17, was 10. When I was 5, my mom met my stepdad and they got married when I was 8. I have mixed feelings on my stepdad. Mostly I don't think he's a bad guy, but he annoys me when he talks like he's my dad. He always kinda did it, but after my dad died, he went from doing it sometimes to all the time where it felt like he was trying to claim he owned me or something. Even before Dad died, I'd say it bothered me and I didn't like him doing it, that I had a dad and he wasn't him. My mom told me I should be grateful to have 2 dads, and if I opened my heart, I really could. So speaking up like that didn't help. My stepdad was more involved after my dad died because there was no 50% of my time with Dad. There was no dad for Father's Day stuff. He would drag me to father-son Father's Day activities with him, picked me up and put me in the car 3 years in a row. He would say I was his boy, and he was a proud father to me. He'd get pissy when I corrected and said my dad was actually dead and he was just my stepdad. The just part bothered him most, but all of it bothered him. Because he wouldn't stop, I went from not disliking him but not loving him doing it to disliking him, and like I told my therapist before, I don't care if he's proud of me. I don't want or need him to be proud. He's not important enough to me for me to care. My stepdad's family are so bad at saying I'm his son and trying to say we look alike. Yesterday, Mom insisted I join them at his parents' house, and his parents and his sisters kept calling me his son and calling him my dad. And I got so tired of it that in front of their guests and in front of younger kids, my half-sibling and stepdad's nieces and nephews, that he's not my dad, and I'm not his son. I said my dad is Dad's name, and he died. But he did not abandon me or pass me off for him to claim. I told them I was a person and not a car he could claim. They were angry I rejected him so openly and that I'd correct them saying, Dad, son. Aita for walking to my dad's house instead of spending the day with my mom's female partner. When I, 15, was 13, my mother, a bisexual woman, cheated on my dad with one of her female friends from college she reconnected with. My parents divorced, and my mom married her partner. I'm an only child and I live with my mom during the week. We're quite close. Her partner makes a lot of money. So much money that my mom thinks it doesn't make sense for her to work, and she's a stay-at-home mom. My relationship with my mom's partner is tense. At first, I didn't mind her. Since my mom doesn't work, her partner provides for her. As long as she provided for my mom and made her happy, I didn't care. My mom provides for me with child support money from my dad. Issues started quickly arising when my mom's partner started intruding on my life. She tried to look through my laptop but couldn't crack my password and demanded I open it for her. I refused. There was a massive argument and my mom took my side, which caused tension between my mom and her partner. Next, she started judging me for my eating habits and weight. She started making comments about how I'm looking chubbier than usual and should stop eating so much fast food. I literally eat what my mom cooks at home. She also demands, since it's her house, I always keep my room clean and organized. I have no issue with this. She is right. What bugs me is that she will come into my room at like 6 a.m. and will yell at me while I'm asleep to start cleaning. All this BS results in a lot of daily arguments between us. I've started going to my dad's after school instead. This causes my mom to freak out and beg me to go home to her. I hate doing that, but I love my mom and do it for her. A few days ago, my mom sat me down with her partner and asked both of us if we could figure out a way to get along. A couple hours of discussion and there was an agreement to try to be more respectful. Despite this, a lot of the same behavior keeps going on. And today, on the birthday of my mom's partner, my mom asked if I was going to celebrate with them. I thought about it and said no. My mom told me I don't have a choice. Since her partner provides for her, we both owe her basic decency and respect. She told me to get ready and dress nicely since we were going out to eat. I had this moment, so when my mom went to shower, I decided to leave the house and walk to my dad's place. My mom freaks the out and calls me. I don't pick up, so she calls my dad, and he tells her where I am. There is a huge argument between the two, and at the end of it, my dad congratulated me on standing up to my mom and her partner, despite being such a jerk to them. Eita? Subscribe for your front row seat to the world of Reddit.